Good day everyone. My name is Alita Daza de la Cruz and now I am going to discuss the educational programs Early Intervention Program. So let's start. The provision of an early intervention program to children with developmental delays or disabilities has gained wide acceptance in the past decades. The child with mental retardation benefits from an early intervention program. Na ang ibig sabihin, sa mga nagdaang dekada, ang programa na para sa mga batang may disability ay nagkaroon ng malawak na pagtanggap. At lahat ng mga batang may mental retardation o kasama doon sa program ay makakatanggap ng benefits galing sa early intervention. At itinuturo sa program na iyon na ang mga skills ng mga batang may disability ay mas maiging natututunan mula sa pagkabata dahil mas nagkakaroon kumbaga ng focus ang isang bata sa kanyang skills kaya sa kanyang pagtanda o paglaki. Parang mas okay na mag-focus siya sa mga skills niya kaysa isipin agad yung pag-grow niya. Ipinapaliwanag din sa program na ito na mas malaki ang opportunity na mas ma-enhance ng bata yung mga bagay na kailangan niyang matutunan at the early age. Mas mataas kasi yung chance na kaya nilang makihalubilo sa magiging environment nila. Next, trends in early intervention emphasize the important role of the home and the participation of the parents and family members who are the natural caregivers of their children. Kumbaga, yung program na early intervention, binibigyan nila ng emphasis kung gaano ba kaimportante ang role ng tahanan, ng magulang at ng ibang kapamilya sa paglaki ng batang merong mental retardation dahil sila yung nakakasama nito hanggang sa paglaki. Ipinaliwanag na dapat magsisimula ang pagtanggap sa bahay. Napaka-importante na magulang ang unang makakatanggap na mayroong disability yung anak nila. Na iba dapat yung way ng pagtuturo o iba yung learning kumpara sa kapatid nila. Kinakailangan din na ang mga magulang ay may willingness or willing sila na maging parte ng learning ng bata. Makakatulong kasi iyon sa development ng batang may mental retardation when it comes to behavioral, social, and emotional. Next, the staff members of early intervention programs have formal training in early childhood education and special education. They participate in in-service training programs and attend conference and workshop. Intervisitation among programs and agencies is held to update the staff's competencies and learn from each other's experiences. O ang ibig sabihin na yung mga staff o members na kabilang doon sa program, kinakailangan na mayroon silang formal training o anong meron sa early childhood or on how to handle the child with special needs or disabilities. Nagkakaroon sila ng madaming training para alam nila yung gagawin nila sa mga bata since iba ang way ng learning ng batang may disabilities. The next topic is rationale for early intervention. There are at least 5 reasons why early intervention services should be provided. First, during intervention, secondary disabilities that would have gone unnoticed can be observed. Observation muna, obserbahan kung nagpapakita ba yung bata ng secondary disabilities. Observation muna kung may mga bagay ba siyang ginagawa na hindi na-notice dati. Second, early intervention services can prevent the occurrence of secondary disabilities. At dahil may observation nga nung una, mas may iwasan yung pag-occur ng secondary disabilities. The third one, early intervention services lessen the chances for placement in a residential school since a child with the basic self-care and daily living skills has a good chance of qualifying for placement in a special education program in regular school. Since kasama naman sa services ng program yung paglessen ng chance na mapunta yung bata sa residential school, At nagkaroon naman na yung bata ng basic self-care and daily living skills, mas mataas na yung chances niya na makapunta sa regular school. Fourth, as the family gains information about 90 the disabilities, the members learn how to offer support and fulfill the child's need for acceptance, love, and belongingness, very much like the ways they behave towards the normal children in the family. Dapat daw yung family, like about 90% may knowledge sila about sa disability para alam nila kung paano suportahan at ibigay yung needs ng batang may mental retardation. Lalo na yung acceptance, love, belongingness, gaya nga ng nasabi ko kanina, or itrato nila iyon na parang normal na bata lang. Then doon na papasok yung confidence nila na they gain skills how to raise and handle the child. Lastly, early intervention services hasten the child acquisition of the desirable learning and behavior characteristics for the attainment of his or her potential despite the presence of the disability. So, sinasabi din dito sa panglimang reason na kasama rin daw sa program ng early intervention yung pagpapadali ng pag-acquire ng bata sa learning and behavior characteristics para sa potential niya kahit na mayroon siyang disabilities. Next topic, there are 4 models of early intervention. Number 1, home-based instruction program. In 1970s, the Philippine Association for Retarded or PAR, composed of special education specialists, parents, and medical practitioners, initiated the development of home-based instruction program for children with mental retardation. The main goal is to provide the continuous program of instruction both in school and at home for a more effective management of handicapping condition. The program utilizes the Filipino adaptation of the Portage Project. The Portage Guide to Early Intervention is printed in Filipino in a dialect of some regions. The National Capital Region and Region 5 are implementing the program. And also, kasama din ang Davao sa nag-implemented ng project. The key persons are the biological and surrogate mother, who perform their primary role as caregivers. All members of the family, including the household helpers, are trained to implement the program. Kasi sila yung kadalasang nakakasama ng bata may mental retardation. Monitoring and evaluation of programs show positive results. Number 2 is Head Start program. The Head Start program in Manila City Schools Division addresses preschool education for the socially and economically deprived children who are 4 to 6 years old. The program operates on the principles of early intervention as a preventive measures against behavior problems among young children that may lead ultimately to juvenile delinquency, and participants are children and siblings of youth offenders, slum dwellers, street children, and other preschool age. The Head Start program was subsequently adopted by the Special Education Centers of Manila with a group of parents serving as teacher aides. Number 3, Community-Based Rehabilitation Services or the CBR services. The World Health Organization or the WHO in 1984 defines community-based rehabilitation as measure taken at the community level that use and build of the community on the resources of the community to assist in the rehabilitation of those who need assistance, including the disabled and handicapped persons, their families, and their community as a whole. The community-based rehabilitation has been acclaimed as the answer to the rehabilitation needs in poverty-stricken areas, or institution-based rehabilitation programs are not available. Piloted by the National Commission for the Welfare of Disabled Persons, or NCWPD, in Bacolod, and eventually expanded to selected communities in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. CBR services have been successfully organized in many communities for preschool and school-age children and young adults. The utilization of the services of volunteers is unemployed and maximized in providing rehabilitation programs to urban and rural communities. And the last models of early intervention is Urban Basic Service Program, an early intervention scheme based on the principles of home-based instruction was adopted by the Urban Basic Service Program as its education component. The program also utilized the Philippine adaptation of the Portage Guide to Early Intervention. 12 barangays are villagers identified as depressed and undeserved were chosen as sites for the program. Children with disabilities who are not receiving special education services were placed in the program. 20 to 30 parents were trained yearly to implement early intervention at home as a means of minimizing the effects of the disabilities and increasing the children's readiness and response to rehabilitation programs. The next topic is educational approaches to curriculum. Students with mental retardation need a functional curriculum that will train them on the life skills, which are essentially the adaptive behavior skills. So, ang pinakalayunin ng functional curriculum towards self-direction and regulation and the ability to select appropriate option, o may alaya sila magdesisyon sa pang-araw-araw sa bahay, sa school at sa community. The functional curriculum fosters independent living, enjoyment of leisure, social activities, and improved quality of life. Dagdag lang na yung program na para sa mga batang may mental retardation o may disabilities ay pinapatupad sa United States at sa iba pang part ng Western countries. Next, the Cognitive Curriculum for Young Children, or CCYC, is a major curriculum effort that is based on Piaget theory of cognitive development, Vygotsky's zone of proximal development, and Bernstein's concept of mediated learning. The Cognitive Curriculum for Young Children, or the CCYC, builds its instructional program around the child's deficits in cognition where mediated learning is applied. Bukod sa Cognitive Curriculum for Young Children, may isa pang programa ang intervention. Ito yung Instrumental Enrichment Program, na kung saan sinasanay ang mga bata na bumuo ng sense of intentionality at feeling of competence as a result of structured mediated learning environments. Next, the Montessori method, on the other hand, aims to develop the child's sense of self-mastery. Mastery of the environment and independence by focusing on his or her perceptual and conceptual development, as well as in the acquisition of skills in self-care and daily living activities. Next, methods of instruction. Teaching children with mental retardation requires explicit and systematic instruction. One such method of teaching is the Applied Behavioral Analysis, or the ABA, na nagmula sa theory at principles ng pagbabago ng pag-uugali at epekto ng kapaligiran sa proseso ng pag-aaral ng isang batang may disabilities or mental retardation. At yung task analysis naman is the process of breaking down complex or multiple skills into smaller, easier to learn subtasks. Next topic is the educational placement alternatives. In the past, children with mental retardation were usually placed in self-contained classes. The special curriculum emphasized the communication arts, mathematics, self-help skills, social recreational skills, motor skills, and pro-vocational and vocational skills. Through this traditional approach is still relatively common, increasingly students with mental retardation are now included in mainstream schools and even regular classes. Pero particularly yung case na ganito, yung nagkakaroon ng regular classes ay para lamang sa may mild o moderate na retardation lamang. Typically, these students receive their special education in either a resource room where they work with a special education teacher one-to-one, or in a small group, or in a regular classroom where the special education teacher works with them. In this model, ang dami ng oras ng mga mag-aaral o batang may mental retardation sa labas ng silid-aralan ay limitado lamang at nakadepende lamang sa individual needs nila. Some may spend nearly the entire day in the regular classroom while others may be there for less than an hour. Next topic is the students with mental retardation in inclusive education. At present, many children with mild and moderate mental retardation are enrolled into regular class. Gaya nga ng sabi ko kanina na ina-enroll talaga yung mga batang may mental retardation sa regular class kung nasa mild to moderate lang yung retardation nila. The special education teacher provides individualized instruction on the school subjects and tasks recommended by the regular teachers and direct family members to help with assignments and class projects. Kinakailangan pa rin kasi ng guide ng mga batang may disabilities galing sa pamilya at guro niya. Yung educational placement, tinawag na inclusive kasi nga the regular class has a students with a disability who has been assessed to be capable of learning side by side with normal students. Sinasabi din dito na kahit ang mga batang may mental retardation ay may nakalaan pa ding activities para sa kanila. Nagpa-participate pa din sila sa mga social activities, sports, and co-curricular activities like Special Olympics, camping, scouting, and interest clubs. Ang mga teachers ng mga batang may mental retardation ay lubos na kinakaharap ang madaming challenges upang maturuan at magabayan nila yung mga batang may special needs.